Joining me now, my main man, Coach Minoso Rodgers, one of my absolute favorite coaches in the DMV, championship winning coach, leader of young men. Thank you very much for taking a minute with me here, brother.
No, I appreciate you inviting me on, Chad, man. This is always a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Listen, bro, I wanted to speak with you in particular. I also had a conversation with Coach Mike Hunter. You two are two of those guys. Again, not only do you win on the football field, but you win in the lives of our student athletes as well. It's a very difficult time in the country as a whole, especially for young Black males and Black men of all ages. We have, of course, the COVID tragedy, which we'll speak to in a moment, that's wrecking through our communities, more specifically George Floyd. I saw on Facebook, I saw that you personally put up a post in terms of what it feels like today and every day to be a Black male in America. What are you experiencing? And in your opinion, how does watching that tragedy affect young teenagers?
I mean, it's challenging. It's challenging. And first, I want to just, I know they probably won't hear this. Hopefully, they may, to the family of George Floyd, man. I want to definitely send out my condolences and, and definitely, if they can hear from one voice, maybe me, that I'm definitely praying for them and the country to hopefully we can get through this and come out better on the other side. But just watching the protest on TV, man, and talking to my young men on Zoom on a daily basis, I always end the meeting with like, this is their opportunity to use their voice. This is their opportunity to create the world, a better world for themselves and their future and their children. And so I just see it as a tragic time, but I see it as a time for change. I see it as a time for our young folks to really make a stand and turn some things around as far as the way the world thinks, the way they think, and the way we go about things. I have a teenage daughter, man. She's 17 and she's a senior in high school right now. And she, we went down to the protest and she was very adamant about doing her part, and that's the way she is. And and I just to see this whole 2020 class and all these young folks, I see them all being like, they're going to push forward what they want to see their world looking like, and I'm glad to see it because we kind of step back and let things get dictated for us from my generation, and these young folks are really pushing the agenda, and I watch them and how powerful they speak and how adamant they're about getting their message across, because they pretty much said enough's enough. And I feel them, and I try to hold it in, but I get the chills and teary-eyed and thinking about, like, I feel them and I want to be part of helping them push their agenda forward.
The George Floyd murder, again, not only touching his life and the life of his family, but it has, many called it the straw that broke the camel's back in many ways. We see these peaceful protests. We see the riots, unfortunately. We see the looting, unfortunately. All of this that's going on, but much of it is a result of years and years and years of our community and the negative relationships that we've had with law enforcement, with police officers out there. In what you've seen, again, 12 years at Baloo, many years working with the community, in what you've seen, what have you seen police officers do that has helped? Because all police officers aren't bad. So what have you seen officers do that has helped the situation?
So it was 9 years at Friendship and 3 years at Baloo.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, 12, that's why I said the blue and gold for 12. So yeah. So being in Ward 7 and Ward 8, which is two of our very highly populated African American communities, some unfortunate situations as far as families and family structures and things like that. So I see a lot of young men who are I guess yearning for mentorship and yearning for leadership in a sense. And being in both those communities, man, I've seen the MPD in both those communities step in and be a major part. Some even stepped up and became coaches, but I see quite a few of them build bonds and long-term relationships with a lot of the young Black students in both Friendship and Baloo. And so, I personally have only had maybe one incident with the police that was in a negative sense. However, I know quite a few stories of folks who really have been, challenged and really, put in a bad situation, but, so having said that, I got friends who are police officers. I have really, family who's a police officer. And so, like I said, I've seen many of those men and women, take grasp of these young folks in these communities and pull them through it and kind of teach them the way. And, I've seen some become, get mentored to where they become police officers themselves, in my time, working in these communities. So, it's not all bad in policing. I mean, there's definitely some great police officers who are officers of the community and who are for the people. And MPD has a lot of them.
I want to say, and I spoke with Coach Hunter about this as well. It would be easy for our community, albeit it would likely be the wrong thing to do, to blame everything that goes on in DC after 9 o'clock on the president or on law enforcement, because again, there's a ton of positive, peaceful protests that's eliciting change. There's also a lot of things that are going on that I'm sure that you have to, kind of cover your eyes to not want to look at it. I know that I hate seeing it. In terms of the looting, in terms of the rioting, in terms of unsolicited attacks on the police, how do we stop that? How do we change that? How do we get better from that? What message would you give to your team or any other young person who needs to hear it?
I mean, just watching the social media and seeing the clips, over the last couple of days of groups of individuals who were out there for all the wrong reasons, pouring salt on a sweet event. The guys, we have thousands of folks out there chanting and singing and coming together with the same mission of just of justice, and so then you have those guys who particularly have no idea, no, I wouldn't say no idea, who have no concern about anybody's well-being and out there just causing destruction, like seeing videos of bricks, random bricks set on the side of the road where people just pick them up and throw them, and those type of things, they're just, they're just bad. And so what I would tell my kids is and this is what I told them today as I jumped off of our call to call you, is it's they're rules. Rules are made. Rules are made for a reason, and a lot of rules are made because people couldn't follow the norms, right? And so if you're good at following the norms, then you don't have to worry. And a lot of times you don't have to worry about getting caught up in bad situations. And so the good norms, I mean, and so what I tell them all the time is, man, if it don't look right, go the other way. If it don't feel right, don't get close to it. If it ain't right, it's not right. And you have an internal sense to know right and wrong. And so if it's not right, go the opposite way. And also I told them, there are rules in place right now for this time that we're in, 7 o'clock curfew. Don't go outside. I know it's tough. I know we're all been closed up for 12 weeks and everybody's ready to start energizing. It's gonna be 95 degrees outside, and we got this good weather. But for now, just stay inside. Stay inside. Be with your family. Meditate. Find something to get yourself better. Like Zoom has been one of the greatest things ever as far as a coach. I've connected with well over 200 college coaches. I talk to my kids every single day. My staff, we talk every single day in probably a capacity that we couldn't do if we were face-to-face, because there would be so many moving parts. Sure. But we have the time to sit down and get better at a lot of things. And so what I'll tell them is, try to find something positive that will push you through. Be with your family. Be with your family, man. That's really something that I've definitely, cherish of these 12 weeks, man. Having the time to be with my three daughters and my wife, way more than I've done in the past 12 years of coaching. And so so just know if it don't feel right, don't go near it. If it don't look right, stay away from it. And that's usually what I tell them.
That's kind of that. I tell my wife, I tell anyone who will actually listen to me, that'll be my takeaway from this as well, is the time that I have been able to spend with my son as a
Mm-hmm.
result. Otherwise, I be home 9, 10 o'clock at
Yeah,
night and
yeah.
kiss him goodnight. But I'm here with him, and that's a blessing. You alluded to it there. We've been in the house for a long time now, before the protests, and that is as a result of COVID-19. It's been difficult. Before we get to the virus in particular, you as a man who has been in the district working with our student athletes, for everybody out there listening, football is more than a game for our kids,
Yeah,
especially that come
yeah.
from disadvantaged areas. It's more than a game. What does football mean to our
Mm.
student athletes?
Man, football, sports. I mean, like some extracurriculars, but we'll speak mostly about football because that's what I'm attached to. Is it's a way of life. I mean, there's so many principles that come from the game, but also football has created so many great opportunities for a lot of inner city youth, a lot of kids who come from lesser means, and allowed them to see the world, allowed them to have education paid for free. Like, so it's so many things that come from football. Um, Football right now is a necessary thing we should have, because a lot of our kids, man, they're used to structure. Like, if they've been in a real program, which you say you talk to Mike Hunter, like I know he runs because we come from the same cloth, and myself. They've been in a structured program, then they're used to routine. They're used to having, similar to when you go to college. They're used to having, like, your time is your schedule is set for you. And now they have all this free time, and a lot of time with free time and lack of supervision, you know, something bad comes out of it. And
Sure.
I'm hoping nothing happens in that sense where our kids are dealing with that. But I
Grandma
mean,
used to say, idle hands, right?
yeah, idle hands, yeah, idle time, idle hands, yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep them in the same type of structure we would have if we were playing, if we were not in this pandemic. Where they have their classes and then they're checking in with us on a regular. So I've split the team up amongst our coaches. I think I've done a great job of bringing in a lot of good coaches who are serious about this, and treating this sport, you know, like they should. They're making it a tool to help advance young folks. And so what I've done is I've split the team up so the kids can have a mentor, have someone they can talk to, have someone they can call. Because sometimes you got 50 kids, 45 kids, it's hard for one coach to kind of stay in touch with a lot of kids. We've had kids who've actually had the COVID. We've had kids who've actually had family members with the COVID. And so, like, those relationships that they build with us is going to allow us to keep them close and let them know that somebody outside of their family cares about them. Like, we're an extension of their family. And so what we're doing is we're just trying to build the best situation where our kids know that once we get through this, the structure's going to come back, and they can be continue to be attached to this program, because like I said, it creates great life skills. It creates time management. It creates a healthy way of living. My 6 goals is to teach them how to lose. You know what I mean? You know, teach them how to succeed. Teach them how to lose. Lose are 2 of my goals.
Sure.
And so right now we're succeeding in a time where a lot of people, are challenged and like, what do I do next? Like, what we tell them, we will adjust. And so we're teaching them how to overcome adversity. And so, like, this time is a good time to use a lot of the principles that you instill in, like you would instill in your son. You know what I mean? Like, these are skills that you're going to take forever.
Sure.
How am I going to handle this period? 12 weeks of no idea what's going to happen next. Like, you got to find a way.
How do you come out of it, right? How do you come out of it? There is no point of walking through a rainstorm if you don't grow it all. You just wasted the water, right?
Absolutely.
So let's say, because we don't know, we really, that's the thing about COVID, that's the thing about the coronavirus, that's the thing about the pandemic. We don't know. Right now, or as of 2 weeks ago, cases were going down. Maybe some good news was potentially around the corner. Professional sports may kick off. Professional sports kick off. Then maybe college sports kick off. If all of that goes away, then maybe high school. But let's look at the grim side. Let's say that high school sports either are postponed until
Mm-hmm.
January, or as my dogs get involved in the conversation, working from home, or the
They ain't
season
like the way that sounded.
or anything like that. I didn't like it either. You didn't like it. Or the season is canceled altogether. What effect does that have beyond sports on the young man in your care?
I mean, we can take it back. I mean, we can start with the timing of it. Like when it happened, it was during the NFL, like right before the NFL draft. And you look at a lot of young men who come from smaller schools, like James Madison and Richmond, like you and I went to, and
our places.
yeah, Hampton,
Yeah, man.
Hampton University, what I mean, those smaller schools who didn't get the opportunity to work out in front of these scouts, which, it showed in the draft. When you watch the draft for 3 days, and you're like, man, only one small school guy got drafted. You know what I mean? Like, so, like some opportunities that could change lives were missed. You know what I mean? And so if we just look at that part, I mean, like it trickles all the way through, because recruiting for our 2020 class, you know what I mean? Like, so we were still pushing for some of our guys to get money for school. And, the fortunate thing is the NCAA did step up, and, they with the whole eliminating the SAT score and ACT score, and, allowing them to still get accepted without one. So that was helpful. You know what I mean? Like I told the parent the other day, man, like our ability to adjust is what's going to make us get through it. Like we have to adjust, because this is a very fluid thing we're doing. And so getting to now where we are, kids are itching, they're asking every day, Coach, when you think we're going to get back out there? And I tell them right now, man, as far as the district, we're all waiting on the mayor. We're waiting on her so we can know when we start. And, now we're in phase 1. So now we at least know we're in a place where we're moving in a direction where it possibly could happen. But I do tell them, I said, I wouldn't expect an August start. I mean, October the latest, when we play just a regular season, might be an option. And like you said, maybe later in the year. I've heard something like a short season between spring and fall. I mean, winter and fall. Winter and spring, where it'd be like a April, May type of season, which I think actually would be a great idea if it ends up happening, because, that's a heavy recruiting period. So coaches can actually come and see kids play. So your 2021 class won't miss that opportunity to shine in front of, college scouts. However, it would suck to not have it in October, in the fall. But, I mean, there is a win to that. There is a win if we have to delay it till the spring. And if they could make that's happen, where we have a winter season with basketball and all those sports, and then football and all the fall sports, and then have a spring sport starting in May, which I think will make it work. However, if they choose to just do an October start and we just play regular season game, I think we can get some value out of that as well.
So right there, I mean, you just mentioned a couple of great ideas already out there. It's been floated, a January start, just all sorts of ideas that have been alluded to. We've also spoken to COVID and the coronavirus and the fact that it is still present as well. If you had to put, I would say your president hat, but that title doesn't carry a ton of weight right now. So if you had to put on your mayor hat, shout out Mayor Bowser. We had a black mayor here in DC. Nothing too, we have black mayors here. But if you had to put on your mayor hat, what would you do? What call would you make? What would Coach Rodgers, what call would you make on gatherings of 50, 60, 70 people or more? Would we have a high school season? When would it start if you were in charge, all things considered?
And this speaks directly to like something I've been battling with since this all began.
Absolutely, brother. That's why I asked it. I got to ask you the tough questions.
Outside of coaching as a coach in my team, I actually have trained some of the best athletes in the area for a long time as far as running backs, and and up until probably the second week of March, we were getting it going, and I had to shut it down, and I shut it down completely. And every week I get a call, Coach, when you starting back up? Coach, when you starting back up? And I tell them, I said, I don't know, because I have no intentions of starting back up until I feel comfortable getting out there. And so with the team, like I told them, we're gonna follow this by the rule, by the law, because I want to make sure we're all gonna get out this thing healthy. We're all gonna get out this thing because our health is first and foremost important. And so if it gets to a point where we're allowed to have a small group workout, all right, let's strategize and see how that's going to look. All right, I got this amount of kids. All right, I have this amount of coaches. We'll all put a schedule. We'll have a master schedule. All right, this coach will be here on this day. This coach will be there on this day. You know, we don't even have access to our own fields right now.
Yeah.
So it's too many. It's so many moving parts, and you know, I mean, I would like to have things a little more structured. You know, I'm a structure guy. I like structure, and I like, you know, and I like for it to be laid out so it's less confused. I think it works best for our young folks. You know, what I mean, having everything where it's not a lot of change. You know what I mean? Like, and they can follow it to the T. And so we would have small group workouts as soon as we could. And you know, in this setting with 5 to 6 guys with the proper precaution, mask, and all those type of things. And then when phase 2 hits, you know, we'll at that time we'll visit and see what that looks like. All right, we'll still split our coaches up. We have maybe 10 to 12 guys.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And we'll follow that process. You know, the process is what's going to get us through it. You know, not rushing it and not getting too overzealous about, oh, we can get back. Because I know as soon as some of these rec fields open, there are going to be youth teams out there, and we're regulated. You know, so I'm going to try to follow it to the T.
I didn't plan on asking you this, but you know, since I got you, I might as well go ahead and ask you. There are obviously a lot of people in the look. My wife's a nurse, so she's on the front line. Like I said, I have a newborn, and my mother is 74. So like this is for us and our family. This is a very real thing. You feel me? There's a lot of people out there that this is not a real thing too. They're far more flippant with the dangers of COVID-19.
Right.
They want to get out there right away. They've been training when you weren't supposed to be training in the first place. What do you say to them? What do you say to those people that are laissez-faire with what's going on? Because this does affect our community.
Absolutely. And that's, you know, that's another thing I've been challenged with, because I'm on social media and I scroll through and I see, like, you know, my kids, you know, and other you know, I don't say my kids, but kids that I work with in other you know, trainers' videos, and I'm like, you know, I personally would not feel comfortable coming home every day knowing that I have 2 young kids, a teenage daughter, and a wife. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that this COVID thing can carry in somebody without them having symptoms.
Asymptomatic. Right? Yeah.
And then I bring it home and give it to one of my babies, and then I couldn't, you know what I mean, I'm just at the point where I'll wait it out. You know, I'll wait it out, because, you know, when we have our time, we'll have our time. You know, that's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree, brother. You probably can't read that, but that says stay strong, stay safe, and stay home, brother. I agree with you, Coach. Thank you very much for stopping by and talking to me, brother. It's always a pleasure.
Always, brother. I appreciate you having me.